Should I fix up my inherited house before selling?
Hey guys, I'm Brad, the Probate House Guy. Thanks for checking out this video today. By the way, I am an active real estate investor and a licensed real estate agent in the state of Georgia. And over the last 10 years, I have helped over 300 sellers get their property sold, whether that's a cash deal or listing it for them in the traditional fashion. I made all these videos because we've learned a thing or two about probate and estates over the last 10 years, and I'm just sharing my knowledge with you. By the way, I am not an attorney, nor do I claim to be an attorney, so please don't take anything that I say as legal advice. I highly suggest that you consult with a probate attorney or even a real estate attorney to discuss your unique situation and get some real legal advice from them. If you'd like to chat with us about the options on the property that you've inherited, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. You can go over to probatehouseguy.com and fill out the form there on the page, and a member of our team will be in touch with you ASAP. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Thanks.
So you inherited a house. Should you fix it up before selling? Well, that's kind of an it depends answer. And I'm going to go through a few things here just for you to think about if you are selling an inherited house. I will say that if you're trying to fetch top dollar for it, you should definitely fix it up, fix all the, update it, make it look nice, make it look presentable, fix all the major expensive repair items. Because nowadays in 2026, a lot of the buyers are not looking to do those things. They kind of want a turnkey house. They're being more picky than they've ever been in many, many years. So you need to take that into account. Now, one of the things you want to take into account, though, is that you can open a can of worms. And I talk about this to my team all the time. There are some houses that what I call a can of worms house, where when you start fixing one thing, then that thing over there looks bad. And then you fix that thing, and then that thing over there looks bad. And then you fix this, and then that thing looks bad. And then before you know it, you're like fixing more and more and more things, and you've opened a can of worms, right? And now you might as well just renovate the whole thing. So there's some houses that I walk into. For example, I went to one this morning, and I walked in there, and I was like, I can't just do carpet and paint in this house. Like I have to fix that. And if I tear that open, then that means I have to fix this. And then if I tear that open, that means I have to fix this. And then before I know it, I just need to totally renovate the house. You have to be aware of that, where you start going into one thing and you're going to have to fix that and you're going to have to fix this. Or it could be so bad that, you're going to have to pull permits. And if you do that, they're then going to make you do all of these other things. Like I had a house down in South Atlanta that was an estate deal I bought last year. And we got into renovating it. And then we had someone come in and steal copper. We weren't going to do plumbing in it. We were just going to do plumbing fixtures in the house, just change the toilet and the faucets and stuff out. Well, some tweaker broke into the house and stole the copper out of the walls, which means now I have to repipe the house. So I had to replace all the plumbing, and I just replaced it all because I don't want to go in and patch and fix sections and whatever, just replace it all with PEX. So I called my plumber and I said, I need you to go repipe this house and replace it all with PEX. So $4,000 later, I had to repipe this entire house, right? And then we were only going to do some minor electrical stuff like I described earlier. Fixtures, plugs, receptacles, all that. Well, that same tweaker that came in and broke and stole the copper out of my house, also, they're an idiot, cut part of the main electrical line, I guess, to steal the copper. And broke the meter box and then stole it was like 6 feet of the main service cable coming into the house, right? So now I have to put a new meter can, and guess what? In order for me to get the power company to come inspect the meter can to turn my power back on, I have to then go pull permits. And I was trying to do this job without pulling permits, right? And then I tried to just get my electrician to pull a permit to do a service upgrade, right? He had to put in a new meter can. We had to replace, because they damaged the mast where the wire comes down. They damaged that when the tweakers were stealing my stuff. We just replaced it all the way back to the panel. So we had to put 100 feet of new service cable. So by the time I was done, I had an $8,000 bill from my electrician to do to rebuild the new service, put a new meter can in, replace all the receptacle switches and everything. We also decided to replace the electrical panel at that time because it was kind of a mess. And again, this was a can of worms because that happened. We had to fix this and we had to fix that, and before we know it, and then because I'm putting in a new panel, I have to bring everything up to current codes because it's all getting inspected. So I have to have arc fault breakers, GFI breakers. I had to put in additional smoke detectors because this house was built in the 80s, and back then you didn't have to have as many smoke detectors as you do now. So we had to do all of that stuff. So before I was done, I had an $8,000 bill for my electrician, not including the other $2,000 worth of fixtures. So I had a $10,000 electrical bill for this house. And I pulled a permit, and guess what? The inspector then said, looks like you guys have done some plumbing over here. And I was like, yeah, we did. Like, because the tweakers stole my copper. So I had to replace the supply lines because they cut the copper out of the walls. So now I had to replace everything. I wasn't going to do it because the copper was perfectly fine. But he's like, well, I'm not going to approve your electrical permit until you go pull a permit for plumbing. So then I go to pull a permit for plumbing. And then he's snooping around looking at that, and he's like, you've got a crack in the slab in the garage here. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm going to get like AquaGuard, or not AquaGuard, but I have another company. I'm going to get them to come do their little mud jacking thing because the garage slab in the corner had like kind of cracked and settled out a few inches. Just in one little corner of the garage, probably just backfill had settled out. So I was going to get them to come do they call it mud jacking. They'll either use foam or mud, and we'll just jack it back up and seal it, and they'll give me an engineer letter, and all is good, right? Well, he's like, well, I'm not going to approve any of this until you go do that and give me that engineer letter. So I'm like, crap. So now here I am. I've opened this can of worms, and this inspector who's trying to teach me a lesson because, you know, I should have been doing this work. And it's like, dude, I wasn't going to do any of this work. I don't need a permit to go do this or do that. But now, because some tweaker broke into my house and stole all my stuff, I have to do all this stuff, right? So that's a can of worms house. That's something that can turn into a much bigger project than you realize. Okay. That was probably a long story. I tend to go off on tangents. Sorry about that. Anyways, sometimes you're going to spend more money than it's worth. Like I said, the house that I went to this morning, you're going to spend more money than it costs to fix it. I told the guy, I said, I'm not interested in buying this house at all. To be honest with you, this is a house that I would just bring a dumpster out here and an excavator, and I would crush up this double wide and throw it in the dumpster, and I would go buy a brand new one and bring it in here and put a deck on it and turn the key and connect it to the plumbing. You know, we already had the plumbing and the electric, connect all that, and have a brand new house that I can sell to somebody that's literally brand new. Way more advantageous for me to do that. I'm not going to waste my time renovating this whole house and encountering even more problems than I can't even see right now, right? Because that's how renovating is. Anyways, let's talk about, I am covering that cost, time, and hassle of doing all that. All of that comes at a cost. Do you have the time to manage all these contractors? Or maybe you're going to manage one contractor, right? And if you're going to hire the one general contractor, you're paying a premium because he's marking up all of the cost of all the subcontractors underneath him. That's what we do. When we renovate a house, I have a whole phone full of subcontractors that do specific individual tasks. I have a carpet guy, I have a trim guy, I have a granite guy, I have a gutter guy, I have a roofing guy, I have a driveway guy, I have a landscape. Like, I have all these numbers of these guys, and I call all of them, and they come out and do that one thing for me, and I manage the project, right? A general contractor does the same thing. You call Johnny Carpenter, general contractor, and he has a whole phone full of all these subcontractors, and he calls them, and they come out and do the individual tasks. He manages the project and the timeline, and you pay him one check. But what does Johnny Carpenter do? He marks everything up by 20%. So you're paying an extra premium for that. Now, obviously, sometimes that's a good thing, right? I'm not arguing. There's absolutely a place for those people in the industry, and most homeowners should hire a general contractor because they're licensed, insured, and have all the other things in case something goes wrong, right? Compared to managing your subcontractors, a lot of those guys don't the ones I hire do have insurance, but sometimes these people don't have insurance, right? And if they get injured on your job, what are you going to do, right? So there's that you need to worry about. Okay, so now let's talk about all this. Maybe you have this house. Is it better to sell the house as is? Well, sometimes, yeah. And it really depends on your appetite or your availability of time or your desire to do any of the work, your desire to manage any of these people, or the biggest thing, which we see a lot, is that people just don't have the money to fix this, right? They don't want to spend $40, $50, $60,000 and spend the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months renovating this house to then sell it to get maybe a little bit more money on the market than they would if they just sold it as is. You have to look at your time and is that worth it? And sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. So I wanted to kind of bring that to your attention here. I hope this video was helpful. And I hope that you are able to make a better informed decision about selling your house. If you do want to sell the house as is, we'd love to make you a cash offer on it. I've helped over 300 people over the last 10 years sell their houses completely as is. Or if you want to fix it up or just list it as is in the traditional fashion with a real estate agent. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I have been a licensed agent for the past 9 years. I hang my license with One Source Real Estate out of Woodstock, Georgia. So if you'd like to talk about listing the house, we can also talk about that as well. Anyways, if you go to probatehouseguy.com, fill out the form there on the page, and a member of our team will call you ASAP, and then we will discuss your options from there. Maybe we'll come out and see the house, make you an offer on the house, that sort of thing. So thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. I'm Brad, the Probate House Guy. Hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.